Hi everyone, it's Vanka. It's been a while, and the reason for that is because my back has been messing with me again. I'm used to it. It comes and goes, but we have had really bad weather. So much rain, it's been very cold, and the weather changes a lot, and then my back also don't like that. So I have been pretty much staying in the couch watching movies and such, but you know, I have to keep my hands busy, so I have made plenty of tiny embellishments and stuff, just hand stitching. And first thing, I will show you everyone, but these words here, this says something like, all of them are from clothing, and I keep them in this little bag here. You know, sometimes you get these trims that you can hang your clothes from, and this had some words on it, so I saved it. And just different labels. Atmosphere, it says. And this is actually a little button bag, and just random, and some has nice words. Check out your clothing's culture, it says. All sorts of tiny little thing, Miss Molly. So I keep them here. I don't buy a lot of clothing, but if I buy from thrift stores, girls, and so yes, look at the inside of your clothes, all the labels, check them out if they have some nice words that you can use. Maybe you can get inspired. So here I have a charm. I just stitched on this something like a little pin here, and just tiny scraps of laces and fabrics. So there's one, and this said broken arrow. I don't have any arrows, but I have this clock hand, so there was also some text behind here, and I used a lot of my tiny little beads. So broken arrow, and I found this tiny lace appliques, and this was from an earring. So broken arrow, broken heart. This says part 2. It has also a pin here and some beads. A bead kept tiny scraps. This is a bead from a seashell or something, I think. So you can see them, all the messy stitching behind. This I used one of these clamps here, divided this, and some flowers. This has a hole here, so I just fed it through, and some tiny lace scraps, some eco-dyed fabrics, just fun. And some of them can be already ready to use, but you can still add buttons or whatever you like. This says devoted to happiness. So just tiny scraps, and some has you can of course stitch these to papers or glue them down or fasten them with a pin or anything. Here object, it says, and this tiny little object, and some laces, scraps. I have my scraps. I will show you how I store those. And this says KP Shine, so keep shine, and I found a little star in my stash and a button, and these I just fasten them together with some wire, and it's just layers of scraps. So I think those were very fun. This says atmosphere. This was a earring. So atmosphere can mean different things, but I was imagining, you know, the space, and it's like the sun and whatever. This was an earring. So this is a little bit dimensional. It's a big glass bead and just scraps. Fun. This says gear, and of course I had to include some gears and just a clothes binder. Oh, you know what that is. Selected, it says. So I have added tiny seed beads and a little button. It has some words. This was also from clothing. Oxford, it says. And scraps of laces. Another one, object. Vintage buttons. Scraps. This had that keep shine again. Look, this is loose. It's just a little pin that you can stick in if you want, or if you don't want to take it out. Some flowers and scraps from some beaded, really pretty lace. And as you see, messy stitching. And I have some with stamped words. Art journey, and I had this little charm here in my stash. Alter your life. This was just a thread, a string of something, and I added a couple of beads, tied a knot, and that's it. And just layers of tiny little scraps. Kindness matters. Pretty. With mirrors on there. Discover yourself, and this I'm not sure if you can see, but for me it looks like a butterfly, and this was just a scrap of some metallic wire, thin wire, and I was just sitting playing with it, stringing it around my fingers, and then I just clipped it in the middle here, and did some movement here and there, and then suddenly, oh, it looks like a butterfly. So I just added that here. What else? I have just layers of lace. Stitched it onto this paper clip. That's the word, you know. And you can use that altered paper clip and here. So there are different colors. You know, some are dyed with coffee, tea, and some with avocado. So you have different shades of, well, pretty neutral colors, but I like that. And that's, it looks like a heart, this little thing here. And this, I just kept it like this because I didn't want to add anything. I thought you can just glue it onto a page or decide later what you want to use it for. This is quite heavy, this piece here. It was some kind of junk jewelry. Fell off something, I don't know what. But the point is that I have made some basics, so we can still add things. Here there were 3 separate flowers, and I just added a little seed bead in the middle. Just very easy. And this, we have some colors. This is also one of those pins, but this is stitched down, and a button, little seed bead, and a couple of flowers. Very fun. And this has a little charm here. Some different laces. And this tiny one. Tiny scraps and beaded all around here. There's also a pin here. Doesn't stay very well, but this is also a pocket here, and I made a pocket here as well, because this lace was like this and then it was cut diagonally like that, so I just folded it over and added different laces and scraps on the back and here as well, and then some beading, a flower, and it gave me a little pretty pocket. And this, love the metallics, the gold, some appliques and sparkly bits and pieces. This is very simple, just cross stitching tiny little scraps, you see. And here, this is very basic, needs to be added something else, but you can see how I stitched here. I have some pink thread with the gold in it here, it shows better here. So I stitched those darker areas of this print, and there's the back. So this can be added to whatever, and here just a little plain white on white and a little soft pink thread that you can still add things to. This one, it's stained, was from a vintage tablecloth that I found at the thrift store. So it can be glued down as a pocket, and you have also a pocket right here. And this, just some dyed fabrics like so. And then I will show you these excuse me, this looked like this, and I did a lot of beading, as you see, and this was just for fun. Everything is not about perfection, it was because I had to do something. This is quite heavy now, but you can see how many beads I added, and different stitching. Some here I just added bead around and some stitching in, some seed beads and all different shades, different colored thread. A lot of work, but I liked how it came out. This was something like this. You can see the difference here as well. So I had to use the beads that I have in my stash. So different colors of greens and yellow. This I didn't have a plain piece, but this had those clovers. So that's how this look. And we have a few more here. Altered paper clip again. Oh, and this was my last thing I made. I think it took a couple of hours at least. So it's just avocado dyed fabric and tiny scraps, and it came out like this, and I think it's super pretty. I want to make more of these. And this is just a plain piece that I even left the thread because I want to continue working on it. It's just plain fabric with some avocado dyed lace stitched around all of the edges. This as well. See, these are the ones we use on curtains. And just a tiny little scrap with some stitching. So this can be continued working on this, and this I think came out very pretty. And that's also stitching with that sort of metallic pink thread and some avocado dyed laces and fabrics. So I stitched all around and also in the middle here. Lots of stitching, really pretty. And this was fun, oh my gosh. But a little bit fiddly. You can see the backing here is like a fleece blanket, and it has also been dyed, and tiny scraps cut in squares and stitched all around. And I think I will add something, small appliques, flowers or something in the middle and in the corners, because it's not perfect everywhere, you see. And these, they fray so much. But look, I think this will be super cute as a little book cover, don't you think? I think so. I love this. And these two are my favorites, and this one too. But it was so fun, and I also made some flowers, and I used a lot of these things were fabrics, laces and fabrics from Nola, Rosanne and Sabrina and Karina. And just want to show you, here I have cigar boxes, this one. It says scraps. I think it should have said tiny scraps, because that's what they are. And when I have small scraps left over, I usually cut them into some kind of squares, different sizes. So that's how I start grabbing in this little box of mine, and then just a needle and thread, and start layering, stitching, use buttons, whatever. I have some other scraps and all sorts of things. It's so fun. I love these little treasures here, and I have scraps many places, but you see most of them are some kind of squares, tiny bits, but you can make lots of things with these, as I showed you. And I have another cigar box that says appliques, but well, it's appliques, but also, also scraps in here. And I cut out prints from fabrics as well, if I have tiny scraps left. And some are just, you know, whole bunch of nothing really, from a very vintage clothing. Sorry, look at these. Just tiny things like that. And those can be added to that, to some of those we already started with here, and tiny flowers. The curtain I love so much. I have lots of these inside. I love using those. And here you see fun so I like to dig through these when I make these tiny things here. But I said, yes, I have also this Tilda little can here. It says small flowers, flower centers, mini doilies. And it's also scraps cut out from curtains and laces and all sorts of things. So this is also one of those that I like to. I always have all 3 boxes with me because it's a mix. I could probably just throw everything in one box to make it easier for me, but I have some kind of system. But save your scraps, and then grab a needle and a thread. And then these were those lollipop flowers, melted fabrics, and a tiny little scrap of flower and a tiny seed bead inside. Stitched all of them. And this is a clay bead flower, I think. Pink. White one again. I'd added a little green bead inside. And these, some of them can also, you can continue adding. So this is quite flat. It was just some scraps of lace again. And this really pretty with the sparkly center, and then we have these more neutral colors. And here 2 tiny scraps of flowers with tiny seed beads in the middle. And this is sort of like a leaf from a sari fabric. There. This one, just add a little flower. Everything I show you is hand stitched. And here, this is a bead from a seashell, I think. Really pretty. And then this, this was very flat. See, I also messed up behind here, but I don't mind. I can add, or when you just use needle and thread, you can just cut the thread and start over if you want to. And then this, with that pretty sparkly flower. And that's it for this time. And now my back is better, so I have a lot of work to do outside, both here at home and at my cabin. But I have a haul and some happy mail I want to show you, so I will probably be back in not so long, and I hope you got inspired. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that nice things, and I hope you all are well, and yeah, hope to see you next time too. Bye bye.